Welcome back, YouTube, to the Goatcast podcast. I'm Big Nige, of course, joined by CW. Happy New Year, everybody. We are excited for today's video. We're going to keep you guys too long. I know you guys got a lot of New Year's plans to get to. But before we start, how we doing today, CW?
We're doing pretty good. This is the end of one year. We're about to start another year later tonight. So you know, out with the in with the new, out with the old.
And speaking of in with the new and out with the old, shout out,
oh,
shout out, Goat behind me. He had a birthday the other day.
oh yeah, yeah.
And very ironic that the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell around this man's birthday. So we're gonna talk about it. Just
Mm.
before I get CW's reaction, just if you guys don't know, which I'm surprised if you wouldn't, D'Angelo Russell got traded to the Brooklyn Nets for Shake Milton and Dorian Finney-Smith. With D'Angelo Russell also comes 3 second-round picks. And so for a deep dive on my side, what are your thoughts on this trade, CW?
I think it's a lateral move. But I think when I say lateral move, I think both teams will get something out of it. But it benefits the Lakers more because that's what they're needing is a defensive guy that a 3-and-D guy that's a little more consistent and he plays defense. So I think they get that. It's kind of redundant because him and Cam Reddish, but he's probably, to me, I guess, probably a little better shooter. He hasn't done much this season. He's been on the bench. But I like it. I don't hate it. I'm pretty sure this isn't the last we'll see of the Lakers making moves. I don't think, because I think this is the start or the beginning of something. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad move for either team.
I definitely agree with what you're saying, and I'm not gonna sit here and puff my chest out and be like, oh gosh, the Lakers made the move that's finally gonna put them over the hump. I'm not gonna go that far. What I will say is getting off of D'Angelo Russell. I know I've been a very big critic of him, on this channel. My biggest concern with D'Angelo Russell, my biggest, I guess, beef with him was the inconsistency. He was consistently inconsistent. And when we relied on him to be kind of our third star, that was very problematic, especially when we went up against the likes of the Denver Nuggets, where he showed flashes against other teams like the Warriors, but then you go play Denver and nothing, So it's just very frustrating to know he is a capable basketball player against certain teams, but if it's one team and the Lakers continue to play this one team and he plays god awful, that's where the concern comes from. And that's not just the postseason, it's the regular season too. He has high highs and low lows. But if he's going to be an integral part of the offense, there's no solution for that. Which is why we see JJ Redick, he started to bench him this season because he was taking questionable shots and not giving not even minimal effort on the defensive end, if I'm going to be honest. But you get rid of D'Lo, shout out to him. He's not a bad player. I'm not going to say he's a scrub or a bum or nothing like that. He just didn't fit. And that's perfectly fine because not everybody can fit with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and how they want to run that offense. Players like D'Lo just don't fit. He just doesn't, and that's no shade to him. You bring in a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a great 3-and-D guy, glue guy. He can do some things for you, and most importantly, he's a defender. One of the Lakers' biggest, struggles this season is perimeter defense. He addresses that, not fully, but he definitely helps. He's also, I think he's shooting like above 40% from the 3-point line. So that gives you some versatility with different lineups, where you could have AR, you could have Dalton Connect, you could have Finney-Smith, and then you have LeBron and AD. So I trust those three guys as floor spacers more than I trust those other combinations of like Rui, Cam Reddish, things of that nature. You can at least put a lineup like that out there to optimize LeBron and AD. I still want the Lakers to get another center, but overall, I think this was a good trade for the Lakers. And I don't believe Shake Milton's going to do too much. I mean, he's has shown flashes in Philly and what he could have been, kind of been like off the bench and stuff. Like he's a 6'5" guard. Like he's not small by no stretch of the imagination. So he can probably do some things for us, but nothing that I'm counting on consistently. But yeah, I think this is a good step in the right direction for the Lakers. And I'm interested to see what kind of lineups JJ Redick throws out there with Dorian Finney-Smith.
Fair enough.
So the next thing, I believe it's the best team of the year. Kind of just going back, looking through 2024. I think this one is pretty easy for both of us. Should be the Boston Celtics. I mean, they've just been dominant, historically dominant. Really didn't, in my opinion, they didn't even get tested in the postseason last year. I mean, they just kind of ran through everybody. Injury is always a concern with them because of Porzingis and his injury history, but they didn't really need him, especially since they didn't even get to really play the best of the best in the East because of injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't play Milwaukee, you don't play Philly, like, yeah, especially those teams at full strength, because both teams are compromised. So you end up playing Pacers, who are really good, but not world beaters. They played whatever resemblance of the Miami Heat, no Jimmy Butler, and then they played the New York Knicks, who Tibbs ran them to the dirt.
They played Cleveland, actually.
Oh yeah, Cleveland. Who they played? They didn't play Cleveland. I mean, they played Cleveland in the
second round.
Yeah, that's right. Because Donovan Mitchell went down. That's right. So again, you're still beating people who you should beat, and those people are compromised. But nonetheless, play who's in front of you, beat the brakes off of them, and then look as dominant as you looked throughout last season and this season. So yeah, to me, they're the best team of the year, and they're probably going to repeat.
Yeah, that's why we are Celtic Green on our panel right now. Boston Celtics, they're probably the most dominant team that gets absolutely no respect from anybody. They kind of did what 2001 Lakers did, kind of. They didn't go undefeated, but they pretty much ran the gamut of teams. I mean, they might lose one game, but in the case of the finals, it just seemed like they did that so they can be on their home court when they finally won. So it's like they kind of, dictated when they would lose. It would just be they weren't playing good. And then once they, everybody played, at least to their level, they won with ease. So, yeah, I mean, Boston, and there's no championship hangover so far. No, they're not first out East. Cleveland's been playing crazy, but they're nice at 2. Haven't even lost 10 games yet, and we're nearing the halfway mark. So yeah, I mean, you'd be crazy to not say the Boston Celtics. I don't see another team that. We've seen plenty of teams that have improved, but no team that was just dominant and unequivocally the best team of the year.
I agree, and that means we're going to transition. Although I do want to shout out the Thunder, even though not saying they were team of the year, nothing. But in terms of the regular season and their trajectory, yeah, Thunder are really, really good second option. If you don't count the postseason, if you just speak regular season, I just want to throw them in there because they've looked really, really good and they're getting better and better, but they're just not the Celtics.
Okay. I gotta see them put it together post regular season. We've seen them fall short in last season in the playoffs. We saw them fall short in the NBA Cup. I gotta see them put it together when it really matters. That's all I'm gonna say on OKC.
No Chet Holmgren. Just throwing that out there. No Chet. That's all I'm saying. But worst team
of Middleton. Bucks didn't have Middleton, so
you cannot compare Middleton to Chet. Those are two different levels of production. Not to mention you get your best rim protector back in Chet. And he's also he can easily put up 20 and whatever you want to say. Middleton, compromised, older, can still do things for you, but he's not the same kind of impact that Chet has for the Thunder. I'll just
debatable. We'll move on.
Anyway,
worst team of the year.
For me, you can honestly throw this one up in the hat. I honestly, if you don't have Washington, they were lottery last year. They're about to be lottery again. They've only won 5 games. Personally speaking, after looking, I mean, because I know some people might say the Jazz or the Trailblazers. You got the Hornets probably somewhere in there, but to me, I think it's Washington. They haven't done anything. They won't be doing anything. And if Jordan Poole is your best player or Kyle Kuzma, whichever were the two on a team that's trying to win games, yeah, that's not a recipe for buckets. It's just a recipe for L's.
I mean, you pretty much hit on the head, but there's other teams out there that can, they're doing their best to be the worst as well. Utah being one of them, and the Trailblazers. I mean, I don't know what they're doing out there, but I mean, there's really no wrong answer when you list some of those teams. But yeah, I think Washington is a team that, you think teams pencil in. Yeah, this is going to be this ain't going to be much of a sweater. We aren't going to sweat for this one. This is going to be, just barbecue chicken pretty much. So yeah, I mean, there's nobody there for Washington other than Jordan Poole and I guess Kyle Kuzma, but they're wasting valuable years, just wasting away for that Wizards team. Yeah, they're lottery bound. Maybe they can get a Cooper flag, but
they do have some good pieces though. Like they are a bad team, but they do have some pieces that are okay. Like Bilal and Kuzma's what Kuzma is. Jordan Poole is improved. Alex Starr is one of the best, I guess, in terms of just quantity shot blockers. I'm not saying he's a great defender, but he can block some shots, so he can do something. And yeah, outside of that, there might be another young guy I might be not thinking of, but I know I want to at least shout out Bilal. Can't pronounce his last name, but he's a big wing who loves the challenge of guarding the other team's best player. So just want to give him a little quick shout out. But yeah, they suck.
And not to get off topic too much, but Alex Sarr, is he? I won't say bust because I don't think many had a whole lot of excitement in what he's bringing, but is he not what we expected him to be in the NBA? Because I expected something, but I'm not seeing anything.
I might have to pull up his averages here in a second and give you a more concrete answer. But if he was the number one pick, I would say definitely you could make the argument he's a bust. That kind of saves him from those bust allegations. I think they give people who are not the number one pick a little bit more time to be better. I mean, we're even seeing that now with Scoot, Scoot was looking at like maybe even being out the league, just how he has not progressed the way we thought he would over there in Portland. And there was even discussion. I know me and you had a discussion about, Wemby or Scoot, not who was going to be the number one pick, but who could have a better career, based on the NBA being a guard-driven league. We're not sure about Wemby's durability because he's such a tall, lengthy guy, things of that nature. But clearly we see Scoot Henderson, he might be out the league, and Wemby might be running the league here in the next year or so. So, but yeah, I don't know if I'd call him a bust yet. Still pretty early to decide. I mean, he hasn't played half the season yet. They've played about 30 games, and he hasn't looked bad, in my opinion, but definitely not what you would want from a number 2 pick.
He's not a guy you can build around, is what you're saying.
No, he needs a point guard, personally. Like, I don't think he's a guy that can go get his. I think he needs to be set up. Like, if a guy like, for whatever reason, Chris Paul was to be on this team, I think he would look better, and therefore he would really beat those bust allegations. But right now, because he doesn't really have a point guard, they don't really move the ball with fluidity and consistency that you would want to, showcase a guy like him, because I do think you need good pieces around him. He can't be the best guy with a bunch of mediocre players. That's just not his game. That's not what he is right now. Could he become that? Only time will tell, but no, I don't think he's a bust yet.
Okay, that's fair. I'm just, he just hasn't impressed me too much so far this season. I don't know why I had high hopes, because I wanted him to be a Spur, but He's just not. I'm glad we got what we got.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would look better on the Spurs, but that's just because he have
Mhm.
better pieces around him, and one of the greatest coaches of all time. Even though he's been dealing with his issues, shout out Pop,
Yeah.
but still a very good culture, and you'd have Wimby beside him, so
Yeah, I
you
mean
know
that the new Twin Towers. That's what I was hoping for, but you know, I'm glad. I'm glad with Castle.
for sure. So coming in next, who do we have
We're just going to do
the
some
wish
quick
list?
wish lists for for the upcoming year. Um, I guess I'll go first. Well, how many you want? We can throw out a few. I'm gonna go back to some of the ones that I did on my other channel live stream, but I do want the All Star weekend. I want All Star weekend back. Now, is this the year to get it back? I don't know because I have to see how this is going to work. Initially I didn't like this idea of whatever a round robin kind of tournament. It just seems weird, and it just seems like it's too convoluted for a game that's just supposed to be fun. But we'll see. But I just need All Star Weekend back. Now I know John Morant's not big on dunking anymore, so I guess we can forget him being in the dunk contest. And Anthony Edwards, I don't know. He's also there where he's not the dog I thought he was. So but we need it back, and I'm hoping this year they'll find something that will spark some interest for that weekend because it's getting really pitiful to watch. Hope we get a great NBA final this year. Even last year's was okay. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it actually was. Of course, Boston. I picked Boston to win, but I thought Dallas would give them a little more challenge the way Dallas was able to handle Minnesota. But such is what happened. But we just need. I don't know who, but we need something. I mean, you always love the Lakers and Celtics, obviously, but I don't know. That's a tall hill for them to climb. But uh, we just need the best of the best, I think. And last year just wasn't the best of the best. It was one sided to me. But if we can just get that this year, that would be great. And also, and I think we've touched on it here, but I know it's big in the media. 3 point 3 point shots. I want less inefficient 3 point shots. I don't want them to stop shooting threes. I don't think that's even feasible now because it's a mindset thing. So people aren't just going to stop doing it just because we want them to stop because they're used to it now and it's ingrained in them. But just just coming down 2-on-1 and you just stop and shoot a three, that's just bad basketball, and I can't watch that. So can we have the ball movement and the cuts and the open threes like the Golden State Warriors gave us, the 2014 San Antonio Spurs gave us? Can we have just the ball movement and just efficient 3-point shots? That's all I ask.
I know I have only a couple things, and I definitely agree with what you said, especially about the All Star game. My biggest thing for me is injuries. I wish players could get healthy and stay healthy. Um,
Amen.
it's just injury after injury in this league. Like I said, we were going to have that conversation of like who's more to blame between the players or the coaching staff or trainers, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but like I'm just wishing the players could stay healthy because that's what kills the ratings is you're turning on the TV to go see Jimmy Butler play or Zion or whoever and they're hurt. And that's obviously, that's what's going to kill the ratings because I'm not going to, if I'm a Pelicans fan,
Mhm.
why am I going to watch them stink when they don't have Ingram or Zion on the floor? Like, I mean, that's just personally speaking. So hopefully players can get healthy. Another thing, like you said, the All Star game. I don't really know what they can do. Um, maybe they can make it like a global thing and bring some All Stars from other countries to maybe duke it out
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
some NBA players. I don't know, man, because it only seems like these players want to like really give it their all when they're competing for something. Like yeah, you're an all-star and that's cool, but like I don't know, maybe there's another team. Remember, I don't know if you remember this, but there was supposed to be some kind of like exhibition game between the Celtics, who are the NBA champions, against the world champions. I don't even remember. It was some overseas team
Hmm.
that they were like there was like conversations that they were supposed to do this, and I think it was going to even be sponsored by the Big Three. If I could be wrong here, but I remember that's what something that Ice Cube was talking about, but the commissioner turned it down on
Yeah, I
why
remember
they could
that. Yeah.
play. Um, but that something like that, where you can get not only the attention of NBA fans but basketball fans worldwide,
Global. Yeah.
I think you bring it to a global standpoint. Now
Mm-hmm.
we're getting new eyes. Now we're getting some more exposure to the where it could be beneficial to everybody involved. It can build the
Mm-hmm.
sport and build those other leagues up. Now you're seeing who's the guy that just busted Kevin Durant, or who's the guy that was locking up Luca or whoever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's why the Olympics were so good, is because we saw South Sudan put themselves on the map when
Mm-hmm.
nobody even knew about them. So now you make the All-Star game. What country's going to do this? What country's going to do that this year? You know, like that to me could be something that would be good to see for in terms of a
Mm-hmm.
global perspective. Outside of that, I kind of my last wish list would be for like teams to switch up their styles. I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest draws to me in the beginning when I was first watching basketball, probably like maybe 09, 2010, something like that. Everybody didn't play the same. Like
Yeah.
like when we talk about like the Spurs, especially back then, and even to a smaller part to today, we talk about the ball movement and the fluidity of the offense. You know, it was kind of like a European style in the NBA, so it was foreign,
It was. Yeah.
and nobody else played like that, right? Then you go to the Grizzlies. You know, they were a grit and grind team, right? They would beat you up. They'd be very physical with you,
Mm-hmm.
similar to the bad boy Pistons, except they didn't. They had the defensive capabilities to be really good, and they were looking to make it a low score. You knew when you saw the Grizzlies play, it was going to be a low scoring game, and they were going to
Mm-hmm.
kill you inside because of the Zach Randolphs, the Marc Gasols, et cetera, et cetera. But they also had the 3-point capability to switch their gameplay up with the
Mm-hmm.
matchups.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that today. Everybody plays damn near the same way. You know, high pick and rolls, pin downs, and just a bunch of contested jump shots.
Handoff. Yep.
Yeah, and like Sacramento, yeah, dribble handoff to death
Mm-hmm.
to basically generate mediocre looks. That's me personally speaking. I would like to see teams switch it up, play to your strengths, not to what the
Mm-hmm.
NBA masses and analytics say. Like if you're the Bucks, you don't really need to shoot. Like you need to have shooters around Giannis, but
Yeah,
the
but
whole
he
talk
does
about
not need to
Giannis,
shoot.
yeah, he doesn't need to shoot. He's just so dominant. He doesn't need to shoot. Um, Mid range, sure, but like 3-pointer,
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
no benefit. You're doing the defense a favor. So those are my three little things to wish for. Just changing up the styles, maybe globalizing the All Star event, and then get players healthy.
Yeah, just really quick to piggyback on something. All Star Weekend. I think what made the WNBA All Star Weekend or All Star Game so good because they had the U.S. team play. The All Stars, the rest of the ones that didn't make it. Basically, I thought that was a cool concept. I know this would be a little weird, but why not try to do the older guys against the younger guys? Maybe if you're 33 plus and you're on the all-star team, you have a team there and you have guys that are, 25 plus or whatever, 20 plus. I don't know, but I like the idea that you get to see how these like Caitlin Clark, who we thought was, snubbed, but she was, how she did against, the players that were supposedly better than her and more battle tested than her, and they won that game, didn't they? I think they beat
Mhm.
the Team USA team. So, you know, you got a storyline in there. So, I mean, something like that. I think Adam Silver has to think outside the box. For some whatever reason, he just reverts back to tournaments. We got the play in, we got the NBA Cup. Now we got this little round robin tournament thing. So he's thinking maybe March Madness will come to the NBA, but it's just not that kind of league. And the intrigue that comes from March Madness is completely different than what you're going to get from the NBA. But yeah, I just thought, maybe they can do something similar to that. I mean, not, obviously that might not work, but just try to do something where, or let guys opt out. Let guys that, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't want to play in the All-Star game. They come out, they wave their hand, and then they go sit down. Jokic, he doesn't want to be out there, obviously. So let him get the honor. You give him his standing ovation. He goes sit, and you put guys on there that want to be there. But just want to piggyback off of that for a second.
Okay. Now, I mean, yeah, I could kind of see that. I could see that being an issue too, because you have those guys who are the all-stars, but then they're not the ones playing in the game, and that's who the fans want to see. Like that's who they voted in, was the Jokic's and the Giannis's or whatever. But if they don't want to play for whatever reason, then it's like, well, this isn't who I voted for, so I'm damn sure not going to watch these second string players or something like that. That's the only issue I could probably see.
I mean, yeah, it's that's kind of doing what the Pro Bowl does, but nobody watches the Pro Bowl, so
yeah.
I guess because most guys that make it don't play. Most of the football players, so it's just throwing that out there. But now that Christmas is over, has the NBA officially started?
Well, that is what my man CW over here, if you did not check the short out where he posted that he feels the NBA officially starts after Christmas. And I do agree, because that's when trades can happen. That's when people are like gearing up for the postseason, fighting for seeds, things of that nature. So with 2024 coming to a close, and we're looking into 2025 and the upcoming postseason out in April, still got a ways away. So we're going to kind of go through our preseason predictions where we ranked each divisions, both East and West. I did the West, CW did the East, and we're going to kind of get reactions to the videos, just to see where did he rank them, my gripes with some of his rankings and his ideologies with some of those rankings, and vice versa, and kind of see where they are today and how close we were to what we predicted at the beginning of the season. So you gonna go ahead and share?
Yeah, I'm gonna share what we currently have going on.
Okay. All right.
So we're out east. Let me go to the top to it, which is what I did. I did the Eastern Conference, like you said. The Atlantic Division is playing out like this. We have the Celtics right now, number 1. The Knicks 2, the Sixers 3, Brooklyn Nets 4, and the Raptors 5. I believe this was exactly how I predicted it, other than I believe I had the Nets and Raptors flipped.
Let's take a look. So you had the Nets at 5, Raptors 4. You had the Sixers 3, and the Knicks 2, and Celtics 1, obviously. So according to that video, that's what you had. And obviously, I can't really argue with this point, honestly speaking. I probably would have had the Sixers at 2 going in, but again, you had injuries and everything. It was hard to give them, a fair assessment, because we hadn't seen them on the floor, and they invested so much money into someone who is not playing worth a dollar. But yeah, so I don't really have an argument here for these. Honestly, the Sixers are playing better than what I thought, given that I thought their season was over almost like 15 games in. So to see them kind of battle back, and I need to check. I gotta figure out, they're the 11th seed right now, so they're like just out of the play-in, which is scary to think, because if this team finds its rhythm, they could be, I wouldn't say world beaters, because then they'd have to play like the Cavs or the Celtics. But if you could somehow match up with the Cavs and be clicking in all cylinders, could see an upset. I'm not picking it, but I'm just saying it could be. Just could just if the Sixers are playing at their best and they catch the Cavs at the worst time, anything can happen in today's league.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I don't have any gripes with this.
that's technically true. So let's go to another one of my divisions, the Central Division, which right now the Cavs are first, obviously. The Bucks 2, Pacers 3, Bulls 4, and the Pistons 5. I believe the only I had the Bucks 1 and Cavs 2, but everything else aligns with what I thought. Pacers 3, Bulls 4, and Pistons 5. Even though the Pistons are playing much, much, much better, they're actually right there with Philly right now.
Yeah, they're like I think it's like a game or something ahead of Philly right now. I believe they are. I think they're like a game ahead of Philly. So the Pistons have definitely improved, and I wouldn't be surprised if they shot up a little bit, like not to the 3 seed or nothing, like just above the Bulls, because I think the Bulls are gonna, if it's in their best interest to go ahead and
They're
start
selling.
losing.
They're selling. They're going to sell pretty soon.
Same thing with the Brooklyn Nets in the Central or the Atlantic Division. So yeah, I think the Nets are definitely going to start losing and selling. They just acquired D'Lo, so inconsistency is on the way. Don't worry, Brooklyn fans. Inconsistency is on the way. And Cam Johnson's probably going to be on the move soon. So yeah, you guys are going to be taking some crispy L's in 2025. So yeah, nothing really here. Cleveland. I mean, the Bucks have definitely turned their season around. Still need to see how they play against top tier teams in both conferences, because they were beating up on the lower tier teams when they went on their run and ended up capturing the NBA Cup. They did beat the Thunder, like you had mentioned about the Thunder underachieving in the Cup. Again, no chat, so I'm not going to fight you too much there. But yeah, the Bucks are trending in the right direction, and they are the 6th seed as of this recording. So we'll see. They fought their way back, and now they're cool.
Yeah, they struggle a little bit with the better Eastern Conference teams, but come playoff time, I would not be one of those 1 through 3 teams and have to see Milwaukee. So finally, the absolute worst division in the NBA. Well, I mean, but they got some talent. The Southeast division. The Wizards, the Magic, Hawks, Heat, Hornets, and Wizards. To tell you the truth, I think I might have had Miami 1 and Orlando 2. Hawks 3. Flipped it.
So you had Atlanta 5, which is wild to me. But I think it's because I think it's because you thought that they were going to trade Trae Young. So
I thought there was trades looming.
I'm gonna give you that. And then you have 4. The Hornets were 4. Then you had
the Wizards.
Excuse me. You had Wizards 4, Hornets 3. Then you had Miami 2, Orlando 1.
Okay, I feel better.
So yeah, was definitely gonna. I wanted to make that point clear because I know when you made that video, I was like, I don't know if I would put Atlanta that low, considering they do have a pretty decent young nucleus. Mainly the main 2 people that I like the most on that team, obviously Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. But regardless, I like where these standings are currently. I don't anticipate the Hornets or Wizards winning much more games. I just think it's about time for the lottery sweepstakes for both of these teams. So nothing really to look forward to if you are a Hornets or Wizards fan, besides the other team rolling in through your doors. Outside of that, I mean, Orlando is still pretty good, even without their best players. Losing Paulo, losing Franz, and even losing Mortiz Wagner, who was in the running for 6th man of the year, might I add.
And is Jalen Suggs, is he out?
I think he might be questionable, but I think he played the last time they played. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. So I think the top 3 are probably easily set because Hornets and Wizards aren't doing anything, and Maybe if I was a betting man, I would say that if the Magic do start losing a little bit more, I think the Hawks could overtake them. But I think they're a
Mm.
good enough team, even without their stars, to kind of hold that number one spot in the division.
And to be fair, I thought the Hawks would be playing their number one draft pick, Risache. They would be running stuff through him and you kind of fizzling Trey Young out, but I stand corrected. So that was my thought process. Let's go out east, the Northwest.
Okay. All right. I did this one. Okay. So for me, I believe I had the Trailblazers as the fifth team. Then it was the Jazz. Then I had Denver 3, Minnesota 2,
Mm.
Thunder 1. And they are pretty neck and neck. Although, in fairness
Sleeping
to
on the
me,
Nuggets.
in fairness to me, I had, I didn't know Cat was going to get traded. So
Well, that's true. That's true.
if I knew Cat was going to get traded, I probably would have still kept him too because I just didn't have that much faith in Denver. But I also said in my video not to sleep on Denver because they still have the best player in basketball on their team. And I was under the assumption that Denver would have already made a move to
Mhm.
address the issue of KCP leaving. So, and they might end up doing that with trading Michael Porter Jr. I just
Yeah.
the best trade that I thought what they could have pulled off. Just speaking on the Nuggets real quick was if they could have got off of Michael Porter Jr., and I believe there was a package that they could have required Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson, but I think it required more draft capital that I don't think Denver could have pulled. So it was going to be more like MPJ for those two, and I don't know if Brooklyn would have taken that offer considering what other packages were out there. But if they could have did that, yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson on that team, they would have been right back
I
in it.
mean, yeah, that would be perfect for Jokic. Those are the type of players he needs surrounding him. Yeah, I wasn't mad at your Northwest division standings. I thought you kind of slept on the Nuggets, but in your defense, like you said, the Cat trade happened, I think, like
I think
close to when we were posting these, but we couldn't go back through, and it was just we had to go back through and redo them. So we just let it go the way it was. Um, and like I said, they're right neck and neck. The Nuggets and Timberwolves are right there. I feel like the Timberwolves aren't nowhere near as good as they were last year. I think they'll make a move. I don't know when, but I don't think it's working out there. And I think they really shot themselves in the foot. I know they had to kind of, get rid of some money, some salaries, but I think they got the raw end of the deal. Obviously, the Nuggets. I'm with my man Scap Attack. If you watched that yesterday, they were ganging up on my man Scap on those Nuggets and Jokic. But I do believe Jokic, if anyone has the right to say they need help, even if he is the best current player in the NBA, he deserves some help. He's not doing things that he's not a stat pattern, in my opinion. And that's kind of what they were alluding to, that he's padding his stats and if he's the best in the world, he should figure it out. And I think maybe Denver in 2023 overachieved. Maybe we need to have that discussion that they, weren't quite as great as we thought they were. In fact, they won more games last year than they did in 2023, but still failed. But Jokic needs some help. They've got to do something, put something together, some kind of package to get him some guys. That one you just said, Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith would have been perfect for what they like to do. Because MPJ is very inconsistent, and right now so is Jamal Murray. But they paid those guys big, so you gotta lie in what your bed now. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't have no gripes with that. I'm still concerned with OKC. I think they're a regular season team, and I will stand by that until they prove me wrong. Prove me wrong this postseason, but I don't think they can. I think they are a very good regular season team that will fall apart in the playoffs, and we will see that again this season.
That we'll have
So,
to have another conversation on that for sure. Because yeah,
well, we could come back. We'll come back to that
okay,
around that time. So the Pacific Division,
I
right
did
now
that. Yeah,
stands at number one, the Clippers, two Lakers, three Warriors, four Suns. Oh man, they've fallen off a cliff, and five Kings. I remember because I watched it. You had the Kings at number one in the Pacific Division, and I was with you. So I can't say nothing because I was right there with you. I thought they made the right moves. They were trending the right way. But as we see, there is turmoil and some bad basketball being played out there in Sacramento. So not quite sure how. I don't quite remember how yours kind of played out, but I do remember the Kings were your number one team. I
yeah.
believe
I
you had
had
the
the I had the Kings one. I had the Clippers two. No, excuse me. I had the Phoenix Suns two, Clippers three, Lakers four, and then the Warriors
Warriors
five.
fan.
Yeah. And mainly because again, all the points you alluded to, I thought they were just poised to make a run. They had all the pieces that I thought they needed, at least for the regular season. We could talk more. We could have talked more about the postseason closer to when that time arose. But I just thought they had everything, and I thought adding a guy like DeMar DeRozan, especially when you replace him for a guy like Harrison Barnes, I thought that could give you enough of the offensive boost that they needed to carry them along, to give them some different looks when the Sabonis and Fox pick and roll dribble handoff, wasn't working the mess. You already retained Malik Monk. You still had Keegan Murray coming back, who looked like he was easily a comfortable third option. You bring
Mhm.
DeMar DeRozan in. I don't really know what happened to Keegan Murray, to be honest with you. Homie just fell off a cliff. But regardless, they don't look very good. They've lost to the Lakers 4 times already this year.
Yeah,
That's crazy because they used to destroy the
yeah.
Lakers,
We thought Sabonis was the AD killer. He
and
ain't killing them this year.
oh, they just look disconnected on offense and defense. To be honest, we'll see how they look after losing their head coach. The way they lost that was completely unprofessional, in my opinion.
Mhm.
They I'm just not even going to speak on that because it's just terrible. And I definitely think De'Aaron Fox is definitely on his way out. I don't anticipate him extending with that team. I think he's seeing the writing on the wall, and that's it for them. I did pick the Clippers to have a better record than the Lakers just because I thought they were really talented, and regardless if Kawhi comes back or not, I still think the Clippers are a pretty interesting team. And James Harden has looked phenomenal. Might I add? And I did not anticipate him looking this good,
Mhm.
but he's turned back the clock and he looks pretty damn good over there. So shout out
Yeah.
to him and Norman Powell, Zubac, the crew. Um, the Lakers have been okay. They've had a little up and down, but like for the most part, they're winning games that they should win. Beating
Mhm.
teams that they last season would have lost to, just in terms of X's and O's
Mhm.
and just not the consistent effort on both ends. So yeah, I'm cool with the Lakers where they are. I think the Warriors low key might slide a little bit more. Like I think the Suns and Warriors might flip unless they make a move and maybe go all in on Jimmy Butler. Like they just need someone who can score. It's time to just they're wasting away Steph Curry right now. They need more offense. I mean, defense, I think they're okay defensively. I don't think they're great, but their biggest issue is going lapses of times in the games where they just can't score. We watched the Christmas Day game. We saw they went to multiple different options in that fourth quarter, whether it was Schroeder, Kaminga, um, Pajimski at times. I don't even know what's up with that. When you
Buddy
got a
Hill,
guy like
Buddy Hill couldn't give me 6 points for my parlay. He couldn't give me 6 points.
I, I like I said, you guys, I think they should have went to Schroeder more in that fourth quarter anyway when they played
Yeah.
against the Lakers. But we'll get regardless of the point, they need offense, and I don't really know how they're going to address it. So it'd be interesting to see. Um, And yeah, Phoenix is just kind of Phoenix. They said Bud kind of nerfed Devin Booker. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but
Mm.
they started hot and now they've kind of came back to earth because of injuries and other things. But yeah, there's people going around saying that Bud has I guess toned down Devin Booker and I don't know if I agree with that.
I
But
haven't seen that. I mean, so of those two, the Warriors and Suns, who does not make the playoffs?
I would say right now, where the way it's looking, I would say the Warriors don't make the playoffs if we're picking out of those two. Because I
I
mean the
agree.
Kings stink. But if the Warriors make a move, yeah, they can easily find themselves in the postseason. But like as currently constructed, nah, they're definitely on the losing streak because I think they've lost their last, or no, they won the last game, then they lost their most recent game. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're just not that good. I think the Suns are a better team.
I agree. If the Suns can stay healthy.
Agreed.
So we're going to the Southwest, where right now the Grizzlies are the number one team, not by much. The Houston Rockets number two, Dallas Mavericks 3, Spurs 4, and the lowly Pelicans with the whopping 5 games they've won are sitting at 5th. I'm not. I'm trying to remember who you. I believe you had Dallas at 1.
Yes, I had Dallas one, so
I
I had
think you had the
Spurs at
Rockets.
5.
Oh,
I
dang!
had
Did
Wemby and the
avoid
Spurs at 5. Then I had Rockets 4,
that.
Pelicans. I had 3. Again, on the fact that Zion was supposed to come back. We saw him being smaller. I called him Ozempic Zion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't pan out. Then I had the Grizzlies 2 and the Spurs. I mean, then the Mavs 1. Um, and I also had John Morant for a dark horse for MVP. So my Grizzlies pick is starting to have some fruition. The Rockets have definitely surprised me. They are playing their tails off on defense. I still think they struggle to score at times, which kind of makes you, when you watch them, they kind of look like an old school team out there just because they'll defend their butts off. But when it comes down to scoring, they have some challenges, especially perimeter
Yes.
wise, creating out there. So maybe a guy like De'Aaron Fox can come in and fix
No,
that, you know?
no.
I don't know.
He's coming to us. He's coming to us.
Nah, I think the Rockets have more assets that they can give to a team like the Kings
We'll give him
than the
Devin
Spurs.
Vassell.
I don't know. We have to revisit that because I think I could put together a better Rockets package than a Spurs package.
Trade deadline. We'll discuss this.
And I think the Mavs, obviously, it's just been mainly injuries. They've looked really good though without Luka, and it looks like they're going to have
Yeah.
to look even better because Luka's not coming back anytime soon. So that's another point of concern for them is this calf injury with Luka. So we'll have to see where that puts them, especially gearing toward the postseason. Spurs look improved. They definitely look play inbound, but we will see. I
We'll
just know
take
the
it.
Grizzlies are really fun to watch and
Mhm.
a team to be reckoned with. Regular season, postseason, I don't know about that, but they look really good nonetheless.
Yeah, they give me Orlando Magic vibes from last year in the playoffs. They're going to
I'm getting,
struggle.
I'm getting like the old school Atlanta Hawks, like how they look really good in the regular season, then they just get trounced in the postseason. I just don't see enough
Throwback set,
consistency.
yeah,
Yeah, but they're
yeah.
deep though. They're deep.
Those years were a travesty to watch. I think they had 4 All Stars and
They got destroyed by the Cavs.
couldn't barely make it out of the first 2 rounds. But yeah, Sengun, is he an All Star?
Yes, because I'm pretty sure they're a top 3 seed in the West right now. I would pick him to be the All-Star over Jalen Green.
Okay. There's a lot of bigs. There's a lot of good bigs out west. You got
I
Wemby,
mean,
AD.
none of them have a better record than the Rockets.
You said,
They
do
aren't.
they?
No, said they don't have a better record than the Rock. Like I think they're going to reward winning to a certain extent. That's why I think they're only going to award one guy on the Rockets. And even though his stats don't say it all, I just think you can't be a top 3 team in either conference and not have at least one guy represent for your team. I think
I mean, I
Sengun would
agree.
be that.
I just want to know who kind of gets left out. Because because Jokic, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
AD's definitely going to be there.
All right,
I
that's
think
2.
Wemby's probably a shoe in.
I think Wemby would come after Sengun. Popularity wise, obviously he's definitely
I
in
think
there.
Wemby might win the popular vote though. I think he'll.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Fan
He
vote
gets
will
there
get
on
him.
popularity, but we're talking about like
Yeah.
how like it's the same thing with we have Shea and then you have Jalen Williams. Like I think he's definitely in consideration to be an all-star because they're the number 1 team in the West.
Oh, they deserve. They'll get 2 all-stars. I think it was designed for Chet, but
I mean, you got Jaren Jackson Jr. over there, and for the Grizzlies, I think he's probably going to be the guy for the Grizzlies. I mean, as good as Ja has been, he's also been in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
A guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. has been playing very good, and if you have to give one of them the nod, I would say probably him over Ja.
Ooh.
So then you'd have him on that list as well to potentially go in front of Sengun.
Ooh, it's going to be a tough. I think that filling out that all-star roster is going to be pretty tough. I think in both conferences.
Yeah, that's why when we do that video, it's definitely going to get very controversial because you're going to have to justify leaving some guys off who aren't in the playoffs for people who are. Like, Kevin Durant, they're the 11th seed. Is KD not going to be an all-star this year? I doubt it. But then it's like
he'll get in there on votes, but on the fan vote. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy if a guy like Ja gets left off. But technically, somebody on his team is playing just as good, if not better, than him. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and I think it'll be interesting our picks because we're almost spot on last year.
Yeah.
So this year it might be a little struggle because there's some players that are playing pretty well, and then there's some players on losing teams that are playing well, but you give them the nod over, other guys. So
we will see.
We'll
definitely have to see. But I mean that's all I have for in terms of this video. That's all we have. Definitely going into 2025 from the channel's perspective, I would say definitely lock in with us. We're going to have more debatable topics as the season goes on. I'm going to challenge CW's old head ideology. We're actually going to get into this whole super team debate. And just a precursor. CW does not believe there are such things as super teams.
Super teams do not exist.
And me, on the other hand, I believe super teams exist. And so we'll dive more in that in a later video, but I wanted to set the stage up. Ending 2024, going into 25, there will be more debatable topics like that, like the Hall of Fame when y'all went crazy on that. So definitely look forward to that video.
That will return.
And if any more trades pop up, obviously, me or CW will go ahead and get our thoughts on those as well. I gave you as much as I could on the D-Lo trade. and yeah, I mean, this season looks like it's going to be a promising one going into the postseason, assuming players can stay healthy. And,
let's say a prayer that they do. And we will try to bring you guys some more guests as well. We're going to work on that to have some other faces pop in from time to time. Maybe not every week, that might not be feasible, but every now and then we will have some other people on the panel. So be staying tuned for that. Of course, we have GOAT Talk Only, which happens every other Friday. So make sure you guys check that out. And yeah, just stay with us and keep helping us to grow. We're going to try to grow as a channel as well and try to beef it up and do some things that we hope are pleasing to you guys and are interesting to you guys. And we'll just continue to just be here and make sure we're here for you guys to hear our insightful opinions on things NBA.
So with that, I believe we're going to wrap this video up. And make sure you like the video, comment down below your thoughts, best team of the year, worst team of the year, maybe your wish list for 2025, and maybe some matchups you guys want to see for this upcoming postseason. Drop it all down below and any other random thoughts you have down there. Happy New Year to you guys, and you'll see us again in a week. So,
yep. And be
y'all
safe out
blessed.
there tonight. Yeah, be safe. Make sure you get home tonight.
All right, y'all. Until next time.
Yep.